Have you ever felt completely bewildered by someone's behavior? You try to communicate, to understand, to find common ground, but it feels like you're speaking different languages. One person is overly sensitive, another seems to lack empathy entirely. One is consistently negative, another aggressively seeks control. We are all unique, but sometimes the differences in how people think, feel, and behave are so pronounced that they lead to significant challenges in our relationships, whether at work, in our families, or even in casual encounters. Understanding that these patterns aren't random, but often reflect underlying personality structures or deeply ingrained traits, can be the first step towards navigating these interactions more effectively and with less personal distress. It's not about labeling people or playing amateur psychologist. It's about gaining a framework to understand why some people might consistently act in ways that are difficult to deal with, and how we can adapt our approach to protect our well-being and communicate more effectively, or know when to disengage. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating and often challenging world of personality differences, with a particular focus on patterns that can make interactions difficult. We'll touch upon psychological concepts that help us understand these enduring traits and then draw on philosophical principles that guide us in responding with wisdom, integrity, and a focus on our own inner state, regardless of the personality we're encountering. By the end, you'll have a clearer lens through which to view different personalities and practical insights for managing those more challenging connections. So, let's begin by looking at how psychology helps us understand personality and its more difficult manifestations. Psychology offers various models for understanding personality, which is generally defined as enduring patterns of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that distinguish one person from another. The Big Five personality traits: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, neuroticism, provide a broad framework, but when we talk about difficult personalities, we often venture into more specific patterns. For instance, psychology recognizes certain personality styles or traits that, when extreme or inflexible, can create interpersonal problems. While we must avoid diagnosing, understanding concepts associated with certain personality disorders can shed light on very challenging behaviors. Someone with strong narcissistic traits might exhibit a sense of grandiosity, a constant need for admiration, a lack of empathy, and a tendency to exploit others. Dealing with them can feel like walking on eggshells, as they are often highly sensitive to criticism, narcissistic injury. Despite their outward confidence, individuals with borderline traits might experience intense mood swings, unstable relationships, a fear of abandonment, and difficulty with emotional regulation, leading to unpredictable and often stormy interactions. Those with antisocial traits may disregard or violate the rights of others, lack remorse, and be manipulative or deceitful. People with paranoid traits might be overly suspicious and distrustful of others, interpreting benign actions as hostile. Obsessive-compulsive personality traits, distinct from OCD, the anxiety disorder, involve a preoccupation with orderliness, perfectionism, and control, which can make them rigid and difficult to collaborate with. Beyond these, there are also common difficult behavioral patterns that might not map directly to a disorder but are still challenging. The chronic complainer, the passive-aggressive individual, the overly critical person, the drama magnet. Psychology helps us understand that these patterns are often deep-seated, arising from a complex interplay of genetics, upbringing, and life experiences. They are not usually a conscious choice to be difficult, but rather ingrained ways of coping or interacting with the world, even if those ways are maladaptive. Recognizing this can sometimes shift our perspective from personal anger to a more detached understanding, which is crucial for choosing a better response. So, psychology provides the framework for identifying and understanding these enduring patterns of thought, feeling, and behavior. Tells us what we might be dealing with. Now, how does philosophy guide our response and help us maintain our own well-being when faced with such personalities? Philosophy, particularly ethics and schools of practical wisdom, offers timeless guidance on how to live well and interact with others, regardless of their disposition. The Stoics, as always, provide a powerful foundation. Their core principle is to distinguish what is within our control, our judgments, responses, actions, from what is not, other people's personalities, their behavior, their choices. You cannot fundamentally change someone else's ingrained personality. Trying to do so is a source of immense frustration. The Stoic approach is to accept the reality of the other person's nature, as you perceive it, and focus entirely on managing your own internal state and choosing a virtuous, rational response. This means not letting their negativity, manipulation, or criticism dictate your emotions or compromise your integrity. Your goal is inner peace and virtuous action, regardless of their personality. Virtue ethics, rooted in Aristotle, prompts us to ask, what kind of person do I want to be in this interaction? Faced with a difficult personality, do you want to be reactive, angry, and resentful? Or do you want to be patient, where appropriate, courageous in setting boundaries? Just in your assessment and wise in your approach, your response is an opportunity to cultivate your own character. The focus is on your virtue, not on fixing or being defined by their personality flaws. Principles of ethical communication also come into play. While dealing with difficult personalities, it's important to strive for clear, assertive, not aggressive communication when interaction is necessary. This involves expressing your needs and boundaries respectfully, even if you don't expect the other person to respond ideally. This aligns with the philosophical value of treating others with a baseline level of respect as fellow humans, even when their behavior is challenging, while also respecting yourself enough to protect your boundaries. Philosophical traditions also emphasize self-awareness and self-knowledge. Understanding your own values, triggers, and emotional vulnerabilities, which psychology also highlights, is crucial. If you know you're easily swayed by guilt trips from a manipulative personality, or easily angered by a critical one, you can philosophically prepare yourself to manage those reactions based on your chosen principles, rather than just reacting emotionally. This is where the synergy of psychology and philosophy truly shines. Psychology helps us understand the difficult personality patterns we might be encountering. This behavior aligns with narcissistic traits, which means they likely lack empathy and react poorly to criticism. This understanding helps depersonalize the behavior. Philosophy then guides our response. Okay, given this, how can I respond with stoic calm, maintain my virtue, and ethically communicate my boundaries without expecting them to change their fundamental nature? Psychology gives us the what and why of their behavior. Philosophy gives us the how and why of our response. So, how do we practically integrate this knowledge to deal more effectively with different, especially difficult personality types? First, use psychological understanding to observe and identify patterns without judgment or amateur diagnosis. Notice recurring behaviors. Is this person consistently self-absorbed? Do they frequently play the victim? Are they always critical? Recognizing patterns helps you anticipate challenges and not take the behavior so personally. It's less about they are X and more they often exhibit X behaviors. Next, apply the philosophical principle of acceptance and control. Accept that you cannot easily change someone's fundamental personality traits. Release the desire or expectation that they will suddenly become a different person. Focus on what you can control, your reactions, your interpretations, your boundaries, and your choices about the interaction. Use psychological strategies for communication and boundary setting, guided by philosophical ethics. When you need to communicate, be clear, calm, and assertive. Focus on specific behaviors, not on labeling their personality. When you say X, I feel Y, rather than you're such a narcissist. Set firm boundaries around unacceptable behavior. This is an act of self-respect, aligned with philosophical principles. Be prepared for them to test those boundaries, especially if the personality type thrives on control or drama. Draw on stoic detachment to protect your emotional well-being. Practice mentally stepping back from the interaction. See their difficult behavior as a reflection of their internal world, their patterns, their struggles, not as a direct, personal attack designed solely to hurt you, even if it feels that way. This doesn't mean condoning bad behavior, but it reduces its emotional impact on you. Choose your engagements wisely, guided by practical wisdom. Phronesis. Not every difficult personality requires deep engagement or confrontation. Sometimes the wisest course is limited contact, polite disengagement, or even ending a relationship if it's consistently harmful and a drain on your well-being, and the person is unwilling or unable to respect boundaries. This is a strategic choice for self-preservation. Cultivate your own virtue and self-awareness. What kind of person do you want to be, even when faced with difficulty? Patient, strong, compassionate, while still maintaining boundaries? Resilient? Use interactions with difficult personalities as opportunities to practice these virtues. Understand your own triggers so you can manage them more effectively. Navigating the complex landscape of human personalities, especially those we find difficult, is a lifelong learning process. It often feels like walking through a minefield, leaving us stressed and emotionally drained. But by combining the insights of psychology, understanding the patterns, traits, and dynamics of various personality styles, with the profound wisdom of philosophy, focusing on internal control, virtuous response, ethical communication, and self-awareness, we can approach these interactions with greater clarity, skill, and emotional resilience. The goal isn't to fix others or to become immune to all discomfort. It's to understand, to respond wisely, and to protect our own peace and integrity, no matter who we are dealing with. And that is a path to profound personal empowerment. Thank you for joining me in exploring this crucial aspect of human relationships. If you found this discussion valuable, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more insights on navigating life's challenges. What's your biggest challenge when dealing with different or difficult personality types? Share your thoughts and strategies in the comments below.